when I was a kid, my mom used to buy me all the latest Hot Wheels toys. I would love racing my Hot Wheels with my brother Fonzo's, and we would spend countless hours doing so. I used to dream that one day, racing all of those exotic Hot Wheels toys would turn into reality, and I would get to own one in real life, and that day has finally come. My 2022 C8 Corvette once recorded at doing a 0 to 60 at an astonishing supercar speed of 2.6 seconds. That's several ticks faster to 60 than the new Lamborghini Huracan Technica that has yet to be released. Overnight, the C8 has become an absolute rock star, knocking the entire supercar community on their heels. In short, the C8 is the mic drop of Corvettes.
We're getting a person shot at 3334 in Evergreen. 422, you guys are okay over there? Alright, is the victim at the hospital? Someone shot there.
Hey guys, we back in the C8 Corvette. So check this out. I know you guys, a lot of you guys already seen the review that I did with the C8 Corvette when it first came out back in 2020. But now I own it. In that video, I'm sure a lot of you recall me saying that I was so in love with the C8 that I would probably eventually get one myself. And here we are. I have my very own C8 Corvette, and that's why I'm doing another review, because although I had a decent amount of time with the vehicle when I did the review back in 2020, it's completely different when you own it. So now I own a vehicle. I've had a lot more intimate time with the vehicle, and I can give a lot more detailed take on a lot of the pros and even some of the cons of the vehicle. But make no mistake about it, my love for this vehicle has actually increased after owning it. I mean, I can't say enough about this car. That, I mean, it's honestly damn near a miracle what they did with this vehicle when you compare it to Lamborghini and Ferrari and McLaren and all of those, as well as some other supercar manufacturers. But I'm sure some of you know that, but those of you who don't, this vehicle basically became my dream car. It was already my dream car when it was first announced by GM, but now even more so. Or actually, it's my car now, even though, you know, it's still my dream car, but I own it. But before that, when I first seen it unveiled, I was like, wow, I have to have that car. And I ended up getting it. It was a long road to get it because, as I stated in the taking delivery video, it's ridiculous. The markups on this, I've seen this car the price of this vehicle go up to as far as $150,000. And the markups were just insane because the demand for this car is nothing short of historic. Everybody wants one. The price point is high, so everybody can't get one. They didn't make as many as I feel that they wanted to because of the chip shortage and everything that went on as a result of COVID. So it created a perfect storm of actually chaos in terms of trying to get this vehicle and get one for a reasonable price. I was waiting for it, and it just took so long that I just had to bite, you know, because when you order them from the dealership, you got to wait. At this point, even, I think you got to wait. We 3 years in from when the car was first announced or released, and I think you still have to wait about 3 to 4 years potentially to get the vehicle if you order it, you know, directly through a dealer to try to get it for a more reasonable price. By then, the C9 will be announced. So I was done waiting. I got mines, and I'm thoroughly pleased. So let's talk about the vehicle a little bit. I'm gonna do a little bit driving, but also going to go in more depth after I park here in a few. So the one thing I noticed is this vehicle has a dual clutch, and it is so smooth. I don't think I mentioned that before. This vehicle is so smooth. The way it shifts, you can barely feel it. It's like the perfect combination of power and luxury in a way. And it's honestly remarkable how they combine comfort with sheer power. Now, I've driven Lamborghinis, and actually the Lamborghini I driven, it was a modern one, and it didn't even have Bluetooth in it. So there's a lot of comfort features that is missing from a lot of the super exotic vehicles, and the C8 Corvette has nailed it in terms of making you comfortable and giving you all of the modern technologies and features that you come to expect in modern vehicles today. So they definitely got it nailed down there. And just the comfort when you accelerate, the power in the brakes when you stop, it's just something that you have to experience to completely understand what I'm saying. And the seats are super comfortable. They have a lot of different options for the seats, and you can go on a drive in this car out of town for 8, 10, 15 hours. I haven't done it, but I believe you can do it comfortably, because one thing that I noticed that Chevrolet Corvette does is they make these vehicles comfortable for even larger people. I'm 5'10", about 215 pounds, so I'm super comfortable. But I've seen people get in this vehicle that's like 6'6", 6'7" even. I believe back in the day, Michael Jordan owned a Corvette. He's 6'6", and that was when they were smaller than they are now. But they definitely make it way more comfortable, because other supercars I've sat in, you feel more crammed. But they make it so in the Corvette, you can drive on long journeys and be completely comfortable during your whole drive. Like, you could move the seat back, you have a lot of leg room, and honestly, this is a stretch. This is a stretch, but you know, I own a Mercedes coupe, nice, a pretty big one, the E400, and that thing is super comfortable. And this isn't too far off. And I'm being honest. And they stepped it up also with the interior. Now, the C6 and the C5 Corvette always got a lot of criticism for their interiors because they were, you know, kind of cheap, plasticky before. Now with the C7, they definitely stepped it up with the C7. But with the C8, as you can see, they took it up many notches to the point where this car can be considered a luxury supercar, in my opinion, and many others as well, because it's that much of a quantum leap in terms of comfort and material quality on the inside of this car. And I love the design, but we'll get more into that after I park. Okay, guys, I'm parked now, so we can get a little more in depth with the interior of the C8 Corvette. So I'd like to start where I left off at, talking about the interior of this car. So you can see this right here, I like to consider the control span, which is a beautiful, very modern, different type of way to do the interior in terms of the controls. So you have, you know, all of the typical controls that you would see usually up in this area, all right there. And one thing I'd like to make note of is, as you can see, everything is driver focused. When you're on this side, it's almost like a wall, and it's like everything is angled towards the driver. So this is basically a race car. So when they made this car and designed it, they wanted the focus to be on the driver. And I can see why they did the control span, as I like to call it, right here, because it's a lot easier and practical just to, you know, go over here, as opposed to, they don't want you messing around with more important controls or more frequent controls on a touchscreen. And I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of these car manufacturers are starting to gear towards all these touchscreen. Everything is touch this, touch that, and I want something that you can press, an actual physical button. I'm not comfortable with all of this touch stuff, so I like the fact that they have, you know, some physical buttons that you can actually feel the clicks to, and something more tangible right here. And as opposed to, a lot of cars are starting to go towards, a lot of modern, newer 2022 vehicles, it's starting to go towards, you know, everything is touch and giant screens everywhere. So the screen, I think, in this new C8 is perfect size, and everything is exactly where you would want it to be. Very practical, very comfortable. You don't feel like you're going out of your way to make any movements that would make you uncomfortable while you're driving. And let's go to some of the functionality that's in the screen. The screen is beautiful. One thing I will say is I wish they would have placed this somewhere else, but we'll save that for another video. But it has a lot of different things that you would want in a modern vehicle. Now, the 2020 didn't have Apple CarPlay. This now has Apple CarPlay. I don't have it connected right now because I wanted to make sure that the vehicle's microphone wasn't recording me and I was being recorded the way I should be. So you got Apple CarPlay. You have also Android Auto. You can go here. You can even download different apps into the vehicle itself. That is also available. You can like put as many apps, I'm not gonna say as many, but you could put apps in there and use different apps. So, you know, that's pretty cool as well. Naturally, I use Apple CarPlay a lot. That's very practical, something I use a lot. You can hit the home button, you go right back to everything else right there. And, you know, you got the Wi-Fi hotspot. Also, within the settings, well, actually, I'm not going to say the settings. One thing I want to go to is the gear selection. So you have different selections that you can have for how you want the vehicle to feel. This I love. So right here, up under here, there's a knob that you turn. And in this knob, you have different selections. You can go from, as you can see, you start at weather mode. Weather mode changes the, the transmission and makes everything more practical for, I guess, when you're like in a more severe weather. Then you go one step up and it switches to my mode. Now, my mode allows you to select what you want it to be. You could change the steering, and you could change the brake, and you can change the exhaust sound. And from one step up from that, you got touring mode, which is good for, like, if you're going, I guess probably if you're going like on a road trip, or something like that. It gives you a more comfortable feel. Then from there, you got sport mode. Now, sport mode is for more spirited driving, which is, if you want to floor it, you want to do some launches to go from 0 to 60, and they actually let you record that. And from there, you got track mode. Track mode, as you can see, puts everything to maximum. Everything. So this is like if you're like going on a track and you want to race or whatever. So also over here, as you can see, it changes the way things look on the gauges for each mode. And that's customizable too as well. You could be here all day showing you the customizations. That was track before, that's sport. This is what, that's touring mode. My mode, you could customize to be whatever you want. So this is back to my mode, and I like the way track looks. So I have my mode set to use the track screen for that. And, like I said, my mode, you could like customize exactly how you want the car to feel. Now, I have the options, different options I added, which is like the exhaust package, which adds another 5 horsepower. So this particular C8 has 100. This particular C8 has 495 horsepower. And don't let that fool you. This car has been recorded. I've seen some videos with this car being recorded as going as fast as 2.6 seconds from 0 to 60, some 2.7, and that's faster than some that which I've seen. It's debatable, but I've done some research. That's faster than some Lamborghinis can go from 0 to 60. So this car is no joke in the power department. There's a lot of things that go. It's not all about horsepower anymore. Now it goes into, you got the dual clutch, you have, the weight distribution, you got the mid-engine layout now to where, it's putting the power to the ground. So this is a lot different than the other Corvettes. So I still love the C7, but the C8, like I said before, is taking it to another level. I also like this right here, how they have the shifter. You got the drive, you pull on that if you want to go and drive, you pull on that if you want it to go into reverse. You press a button right there for neutral, and then you have here for manual, which I love. I have the chrome paddles here if you want to go into manual, and you press the button right there for park. So this car has a lot of different options in it, which is really nice, and we'll be here all day if I'm trying to go through all of them. So let's talk about the driving experience a little more. So the driving experience is immaculate in this vehicle, and I will say that in this particular vehicle, I do not have the magnetic ride, and I would say that because of that, it has the perfect balance. It's not the Z51. The Z51, I believe, I've driven a Z51 version, and the Z51 has the suspension a little too stiff if you get it without the magnetic rad. But if you get just the straight Stingray without the magnetic rad, they have the perfect balance to where the suspension is a little softer than a Z51. And like I said, with the straight Stingray, you get it to where it feels it's like perfect. It's right down the middle. It reminds me of Goldilocks. You know what I mean? So it's perfect. It's just right. And it's still stiff enough, you know, to where, you know, you feel the sportiness of it, and it's still soft enough to where it gives you a tad bit feeling of luxury when you're going on, you know, just like a cruise or something that's not race focused. So I love the feeling of this vehicle, and that's where I was talking about how it kind of reminds me of a luxury slash supercar. That's a lot of what I'm talking about. In my particular vehicle, I love the leather option I have here. It's kind of like a cool gray white, for lack of a better way to explain it, but it's beautiful, and it goes perfectly with the white stitching everywhere. And like I said, this is like a quantum leap from what Corvette previously had in the C7, and light years beyond what the Corvettes was like previous to the C7. So I love the interior. Back here, you have some space for you to do some, I want to say shopping, but for you to put some things there. We have some storage space here. Right there, you got the, you know, the normal, typical side pockets on the doors on both sides, that side and there. Here, this thing looks like a camera, but you hit that, and that's the glove compartment right there. So, yeah, one thing I do like is they got a window to where you can see the engine from the inside of the vehicle if you just look back. So I think that's dope. I love that. And I'm gonna show y'all this car without the top. So real quick, show y'all how to do it, and then I'll just switch it over to what it looks like without the top. But this is how you take the top off. You open that right there on both sides. So this tag right here on my arm, because I know y'all probably wondering, is from a convention that I went to. And pop that. So those two, pop this, and then the top just lifts right off. So now we're on the outside of the vehicle, and I'm going to show you before I take the top off. You already seen how I popped it from the inside. This is where the top goes. It slides very neatly, and you'll see in a second, in, and it pops right onto the latches right there. You gotta excuse my trunk's a little messy, but as you can see, one thing I want to say real quick, I love the fact that you have the engine in the back now, which is exotic, mid-engine sports car, but as a result, you now got something else that you want to keep clean, because the engine is on full display. And as you can see, I went out and bought some engine cleaner so I can keep my engine looking nice and pretty. So yeah, let me show you what it looks like when the top is in the trunk. And there it is. As you can see, the top goes neatly into the trunk like this. And I'm gonna show you real quick the last step. Once it's in there like that, you just give it a push and it clicks right in, just like that. So that's how you take the top off, and this is where the top is stored. And one thing I say is, I was originally wanting to get the automatic convertible version of this, but I'm gonna tell you the reason why I didn't. Because one of the things I love that you don't get with the convertible version is the fact that when the trunk is closed, you get to see your engine from the back window. And I think that is a must when you got a supercar. With the convertible, this is all closed off, so you don't see the engine. And I think you're just kind of missing out. So to me, you get the best of both worlds. You get the top off, and you still get to have the engine on full display, which again, I feel like is a must on any exotic vehicle like this. So now I'm gonna let y'all see it with the top down. And as you can see, it's very exotic looking. I love the contrast with the white gray seats, and it really just gives it an even more exotic look. So this is the C8 with the top off. Okay, you guys remember from before I told you about in the previous video back in 2020 with the C8 Corvette that because most vehicles trunks are in the back, naturally the C8 is an exotic vehicle, so the engine is in the back, the trunk is in the front, which makes it a frunk. And you open it from here on the key, couple pushes, pops open, and just lift it up like that. So you gotta excuse what I got in there. I got my gym gloves and my headphones and the paper from the gun range. But yeah, you see, it's a decent amount of storage space. Probably one carry-on, normal carry-on roller luggage will go in there. I do a lot of traveling, so that's going to get tested out soon. And yeah, so one thing I don't like about this is the fact that I hate anything that forces you to touch the vehicle. You spend a lot of time on a car like this making it clean and shine, but to shut it, you have to touch it. I don't like that. Have to put your hands on it and push it shut like that instantly. Fingerprints, there's no way around it. I guess I could use a microfiber cloth every time I do that, but that's not practical. So yeah, it's, you know, a lot of things to love about this vehicle, and I'll probably end up doing a 5 things I hate, just because that's like the popular thing I see a lot of YouTubers doing, because you got so much good to say people about a vehicle like this that is seemingly perfection. People like to see what's wrong with it. So there's a few things that I, you know, kind of have gripes about, but for the most part, this car is about as close to perfection as you could possibly get. But I'll be doing a video like that soon as well. Let's see what that cold start sound like. God damn.